But without further ado, I want to get Aaron up here, who is going to talk to us about home security monitoring. Let's give him a hand.
What up, everybody? All right, so let's start this presentation. All right, let's try it again. So, like you said, in case you guys didn't get enough of this at work, we're going to talk about how you can do some home network security monitoring, well, at home. But we're going to do that both cheap and easily, or at least that's the goal. So, who am I? For those of you that don't know me, this is a list of things that I am or do. In my free time, I like to talk about the things that I am or do. Yeah, we can go over that later. Also, you don't have to listen to Juris. This shit's on GitHub. You can go read about this later. You can go talk to people. So, why would you even want to monitor your home network in the first place, okay? I think people in this room generally fall into two separate camps, okay? So we've got people who are security analysts, they work in security, or you are trying to make your break in security, okay? A lot of times you will have side projects you're working on, no matter what camp you are in. And this is a good side project to have in order to keep your skills sharp. And furthermore, attacks aren't really restricted to the enterprise network. So your home network is basically a honeypot that isn't designed to be available, but some people do find it. So kind of nice to be able to fact check what's going on that home network. And then sanity checking your network devices. Okay, maybe I want to make sure that my smart TV isn't sending my thoughts out to Mother Russia or some shit. I don't know. And then, of course, so, SANS, critical security controls. Number one thing is inventory of authorized and unauthorized devices. It's always nice to know what is actually on your network. And at the end of this talk, you should have the ability to figure that out. Of course, you're going to have more troubleshooting support. Should something not be working over the network that should, you'll have a little bit more insight into that with your packet captures. And then the biggest thing that we're going to talk about tonight is it allows you to create your own alerts. Okay, so it's nice that all these products that come out have all sorts of alerts that are baked in, but obviously everyone's environment is a little bit different. Okay, so what you want to get alerts on might be different than what someone else in the room wants to get alerts on. So everyone can have their own alerts. Alerts for everyone. And I mean, why not? Sounds like a lot of fun. So, you might have noticed if you looked at this talk preview, I said this is going to cost you like 50 bucks. And I fucked up. I lied. Turns out that you really can't do it with just the Edge Router X. Okay? I thought you could, and you can't. The issue here is that for most home internet connections, okay, your ISP only wants one forward-facing, device. Okay, so if you plug a switch directly into your modem, usually your ISP is going to freak out and you're not going to get any network connectivity whatsoever. I don't know if this holds true for Google Fiber. I'm not lucky enough to live here. I come out from Columbia. So those of you who are on fiber, you might have a little bit more luck with that. But for those of us who have regular asshole ISPs, we need something on the modem, in front of the modem, I should say, in order to do some NAT for us. Okay, so what I ended up doing is I did use that edge router as the, router on the edge, aptly named, right? That is what provides NAT to everything going behind it. Then I've got that Netgear switch behind it. That is just a simple 5-port managed switch, and it supports port mirroring, okay? And that is very important. That is what we are looking for. You might also want to grab this Ethernet adapter that I have listed here. You don't necessarily have to, but I have found that some hardware NICs act a little bit silly with this setup, and I don't know exactly why that happens, but I have had flawless luck with this little $15 USB adapter, USB 3.0. Again, I haven't had any throughput issues. You might have throughput issues. Again, some of you guys out here have Google Fiber. I'm not maxing out my 1 gig links whatsoever. Who knows? So, and then what else do you need? So we've got VirtualBox here, and then Security Onion. Both of those products being free 90 free. Everybody loves free. So, all right, that didn't look too bad. This is what we are working towards here. Okay, so we've got our modem there on the left side. You are connecting one end of that into your edge router, connecting another link there between the edge router and that Netgear switch. So what we're doing here is we are bottlenecking the traffic that is happening on the network. The real important parts are happening right there and right there. also right there. So what you'll end up doing in these settings is you will mirror both of these ports over to this port here. That gives you a span port, and that is what we are going to be sniffing on. That is the interface that we will use in order to sniff all of our network traffic. Now the major benefit here, some of you might be saying, well Aaron, why don't you just plug it into the wireless router? Let's cut out the middleman. Well, unfortunately, if you do that, you will get all of the traffic for your wired network. However, not the wireless network. Okay, so that is the major benefit of this setup here, is that using this scheme, you will be able to capture every single bit of traffic happening on your network, both wired and wireless. Awesome. Okay, so the next set of slides, well, a lot of the next set of slides are literally going to be step-by-step instructions. Again, I wanted this to be done cheap. I wanted this to be done easy. What's easier than reading? Not a whole hell of a lot, breathing. So we're gonna go through these pretty quickly. I might have some things that I touch on specifically regarding these slides. Nothing here really. This is how you install and download VirtualBox. Once you unbox that Edge Router X, again, doesn't have to be an Edge router. Really, it can be anything that will provide NAT. Of course, for throughput reasons, you might want to make sure that whatever this device is has 1 gigabit ports, not maxing out at 100 meg or anything like that. So again, this is a good piece. You can find it for like 45 bucks at Micro Center, sometimes 40 bucks. So no affiliation with them. Really wish we had one in Columbia. This is how you connect to that Edge router by default out of the box. Just got to connect to F0. Do a little finagling. Look at those default credentials. Bad Ubiquity. Update your firmware on there. That'll give you some additional wizards to use. Show you how to use that or download that firmware image and upload that. But a little bit more configuration there. You don't necessarily, by the way, have to go with the 2 different networks. I chose to do that. And one reason why you might want to do that, actually, so Noah's talk earlier, for anyone that might have missed it, was about honeypots. And one of the things that he mentioned that you can do in order to help him gather more data is to deploy a Raspberry Pi on your home network and have it collect more data for that HoneyNet. However, of course, that is a caveat. You want to make sure that you're not needlessly exposing any of your other home devices to additional risk. So what you can do using the Edge router, not necessarily with another piece of hardware, but you can create a separate VLAN on any of those empty ports that are there, and you can actually connect your Raspberry Pi to that. You could also do it on the switch as well. If you put it on the switch, you would actually get the traffic and you would see that. So again, you would have to span all of those ports. Again, not a big deal. Or you can put it up there if you don't want to fill up your Bro instance with a whole lot of noisy alerts. Nothing special there. So deploying and configuring the GS105E, nothing too major there. You will want to do that over a web GUI. For whatever reason, the only software that they provide is compatible with Windows only. Boo, nobody likes that. And unfortunately, they give you an unencrypted HTTP page to log in at. So try and do this when there's no bad guys on your home network. Stuff there. That's how you turn on the span port. Again, nothing super crazy here. Okay, and you're going to want to configure your wireless router to act as an access point. So again, you don't need 2 routers on your network. We are going to take that wireless router that you presumably already had present, and we are simply going to use that as an access point. Your wireless network information isn't going to change, at least it shouldn't. It'll kind of depend on the individual wireless router. These are the steps to do it for a lot of Netgear products. Again, your device might vary. And then at that point, when you have done all of these things, crack open Wireshark, start running a packet capture on that span interface, and we should see traffic. Look at that, I got TLS, I got HTTP, I got protocols coming out my ass. We are now mirroring all network traffic. And we're doing it with per host level granularity. Shit, yeah. Okay, so what do we got next? Now we got to go ahead and deploy and download Security Onion. So again, we go through stuff here. 4096 meg of RAM is what you're going to want optimally. Okay, if you don't have that available, okay, that's fine. 2 gig is pretty good in my experience. Again, those of you with Google Fiber might see, you might have significantly different mileage, okay? You guys have a much more saturated link than I do. But one core is sufficient, so again, you're only using one of your cores. Not a huge strain on your main desktop. A bit of things to go ahead and configure within VirtualBox. So the biggest thing, okay, so again, two major virtualization platforms, VirtualBox and then VMware products. A lot of people might use VMware products for work. If you have access to that, awesome. There is nothing wrong with using VMware. I wanted to give a free option though. So with VMware, it will be smart enough with Security Onion when you are setting up the monitoring interface, it will put it into promiscuous mode for you, okay? VirtualBox will not. I will not tell you how many hours I spent trying to figure out why I could see traffic on Windows, but I couldn't see the traffic in Security Onion. It's because I was not allowing promiscuous mode through VirtualBox's network adapter. So yeah, be sure to change that. It will save you from a lot of no sleep and hair pulling. But again, this is how you install Security Onion. Hooray, hooray. This is how we will configure Security Onion. Again, hooray, hooray. Nothing special to look at here. If you purchased all of the hardware, all of the address information that you see there on the 192.168.1.1 network, that will all be correct. Again, though, you will want to use separate addressing if you have a different home network setup. We go through the Security Onion wizard, give all these settings, and we keep clicking around and we keep clicking. Finally, what we will do, and this is not part of the actual Security Onion setup scripts, is we're going to poke a hole into the firewall. And the reason that we're going to do that is you probably don't want to be tapped into that VM all the time doing your research, looking at your logs. In particular, reason being is that for whatever reason, Security Onion and VirtualBox don't like to play nicely when it comes to displays. I can't seem to get it to go any larger than that, 640 by 840 or whatever that stock resolution is. So absolutely terrible. Go ahead and punch a hole in the firewall, allow HTTPS access from anywhere. You could further restrict that if you want to, but whatever. Now, not only are we monitoring all the traffic, but we're capturing all the traffic. And we're still doing it at the per host level. And where did all my disk space go? Okay, that is one thing that I do want to mention. I didn't specify how much disk to give this virtual machine. Again, your mileage may vary. So at home, I've got a few desktops, a couple smart TVs, and my wife does God knows what on Pinterest. I get about 10 gigs of logs per day, okay, on average. A little bit more if I'm binging something on Netflix. Your log retention for Security Onion is going to depend very heavily on how much disk space you have to throw at it. Of course, the good thing being is that disk space is not super expensive now, okay? So for what, 50 bucks or whatever, you can go grab a 1 terabyte hard drive, connect that to your computer, and just set VirtualBox to always use that. You'll change a few configs in there to reroute where your logs are going, and wham bam, thank you, man. You've got retention for God knows how long at that point. Again, you might use up more, you might use up less. The nice thing about Security Onion is that it is very easy to configure when those logs rotate, how often they do it, compression algorithm, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, all that's really cool, but all that is stuff that happens out of the box. So quick show of hands, how many of us are familiar with Bro? Yeah. Way fewer hands and responses than I got here. Okay. Bro is fucking amazing, all right? No two ways about it. Bro is, in a sense, an event-driven architecture. It's connection-oriented. It is a monitoring tool that is monitored based off of connections. So correlation, Bro doesn't do any of that, okay? They don't, this is an open source product. That is up to you. That is up to you, the analyst, how you correlate and how you use that information. The reason that we're using Security Onion here, again, easy was part of this talk, okay? A lot of you in this room are probably very capable of spinning up a CentOS VM, setting up Bro from scratch, maybe setting up an ELK stack in order to visualize it instead of ELSA, which is a really ugly interface that they give you through Security Onion. Hey, yeah, I heard if someone's saying whoa to that, I'm sorry, ELSA's ugly. So what can it do out of the box though, okay? So Security Onion has a lot of things pre-configured for Bro, as you can see here. What are your top connections? What are your services? DNS info, HTTP, Kerberos info, a lot of this. All of this comes right out of the box. It's going to detect this and it's going to make note of it. Now, SQL is a GUI interface that is provided by Security Onion that will let you deal with events as Bro sees them. And that's a really good way to sort of become familiar with what is happening on your network, but doesn't allow you to do any custom alerting. Okay, and that's kind of half of the point of this whole talk. So, if you want to make custom alerts, the simple answer to that is Bro scripting. Okay, so Bro, basically, a lot of what goes on there on the back end is done via Bro scripts. Okay, this is basically a programmable software network monitoring tool. Here is a specific location where you will actually store your shared scripts. Again, if you are setting this up from scratch, you might have it in a different location. But this is where you would do it if you were doing this in Security Onion. And our collection of custom alerts, these scripts are going to make up what is known as a module, okay? And a module needs three things, all right, or three, I guess, parts. So we've got the main.bro, all right? This is where you are going to bake in the logic for your alerts. We'll see examples of this here in a little bit. You need one or more Bro scripts, okay? So what these scripts do will be the functionality of your alerts, of what you are doing there. And then we've got this load.bro file, which is basically just sort of a list of, hey, this is what this module takes, this is what I use in order to do what it is that I'm doing. So, what I've got here is we're going to make a template, or rather, if you were walking through this side by side, you would be making a template. We're going to make this custom notices.bro. Okay? So what we want to do with this is we, as the name implies, make some custom notices. Now, at a minimum, what a module script needs to do is declare the module name so that it can actually be used, and then provide all of the variables, everything that it is going to allow other processes to use, other scripts to use. Something cool is happening over there. That needs to be added in the export block, and we will see an example of that momentarily. So for now, what I want to do to show you guys about this is to create just some notice types, okay? And we're going to see what that looks like. You can kind of sort of see that. So we have called this module custom notice, and we're going to put all of our custom notices in here. So I've got two redefined statements in here. We're taking the notice type, and I'm adding one called bro start and adding one called bro stop. That you can guess what we're going to alert on, can't you? So what is the next part of our module here? So we need a main.bro. Again, this is your event-driven logic component. Okay, so two events will happen every single time in main.bro, regardless. And that is bro init, so when bro starts, and bro done, when bro stops. So our template script here is going to take advantage of both of these events. Okay, so here I am loading my custom scripts and custom notices, so that's the more full path of where that module is being stored. When bro starts, I'm issuing a notice. That notice is of type custom notice, bro start, and we pass a message, bro engine started. We do the exact same thing when bro stops. Nothing super exciting. And then we need this load.bro. Again, it's just going to be a list of files that are needed by this module. And what do we got here? Custom notices and main.bro. Literally the only thing. So again, this is a very bare bones example of bro scripting. Okay? Now we need to make sure that bro is actually going to use that module. So here we go through the steps of going into bro control, installing that updated custom script, and then restarting bro so that it is using the script. Again, I show you which command that you can run in order to check that your custom script is actually being run. And then sure enough, once it starts back up, yeah, you guys can kind of see that. So a few moments after, of course, Elsa has to take a moment to catch up and everything, but what do we see here? Custom notice, bro start. We did it, SetKC. All right, so cool. Now I have a notice when bro starts and bro stops, but normally it's not going to start and stop, and when it does, I probably did it because I put in something new. So let's take it a little bit further, okay? Now, bro scripting is super complicated. Again, this is basically its own programming language, and it would take hours to explain bro scripting at length. But one thing I will show you is a very important event as far as security alerting is concerned, and that is the new connection event. Okay, so again, bro is an event-driven thing. So here we see we've got the event new connection, and what does it contain? It contains a connection. So that is represented as C usually. This gets generated for every single connection, and it contains that connection object. That object contains a lot of juicy information. Okay, so we've got the origin IP, we've got the destination IP, and a whole hell of a lot more. Using this data type, using this object, we can sort of think up already some more meaningful alerts. Okay, so maybe comparing the origin and or the destination with some bad list. You can also compare the HTTP info with some known malicious domain list. Again, take a look at what port and what protocol is being used. If anything weird is observed, maybe make a notice of that. So here's a fun trivial example. I went ahead and made a script to detect Bing users on my network. So as we can see, Bing user detected at 192.168.147. Teach them to fish or drown them. Do whatever you want. How did we do that? Well, I've added in this little bit here. So we see event new connection. So every single time a new connection occurs, we make a little if statement. So if the responding host is, these were two IPs that I associated with Bing, if it sees either of those in the responding host header, then it's going to go ahead and fire off that alert. And again, we can see here that notice message is sent. I did went ahead and add another notice type in, custom notices. So again though, a cheeky little example, slightly more advanced than our simple bro start and bro stop. But again, at this point, I think the wheels should be turning in your head. You should kind of see the sort of utility that is available to you when you have full network packet capture at your disposal. So what do you do from here? Okay, you got all this shit set up, you made some funky little alerts, you told yourself that you're wasting time every time you go to Facebook or Reddit or something. What else can you do? So again, bro scripting is mad complicated. Do yourself a favor if you are interested in this and taking it further, start reading up on Bro's documentation. Bro has been around since the 90s. The documentation is, it's an open source project, so you get what you pay for. But it's better than many open source projects I've worked with. Definitely check out Sigil as well. Again, that is that GUI framework that is there to give you information on alerts that Bro sees out of the box. Again, that's just some really nice way to start to become familiar with your home network, and additionally to start to see what sort of things that you might want to create more involved alerts on. There are a whole bunch of Bro scripts on various people's GitHubs, and I will start making some myself. Again, you can make all of these scripts yourself, or rest on the shoulders of giants. Again, don't reinvent the wheel unless you're trying to learn. So again, what was I doing here in creating these tutorial scripts? Definitely reinventing the wheel. I am not the first person to have done that, obviously, but it does get me a bit more familiar with Bro scripting. There is a really cool hardware tool called the Zodiac FX. It is a software-defined networking board. It's about the size of 2 Raspberry Pis. It is a 4-port software-defined networking switch. It's like $83, ships from Australia. Bro has another bit in there called the Net Control framework. And what Net Control allows you to do is send messages to software-defined networking endpoints and allow you to actually act on what you are seeing. So instead of Bro being an intrusion detection system, give Bro some teeth, man. Make it an intrusion prevention system. If you see someone SSH guessing on your home network, give them the fucking boot. Get them out of there. You don't need them knocking on the door. And then additionally, so again, I did set out to do this as easily and cheaply as possible. As it turns out, that didn't work out so well. I would have liked to have seen the edge router be the only component. I'm damn sure that I am very, very close to that. But I haven't quite hit it yet. So fingers crossed, hopefully I will have that figured out by the next iteration of this talk. I've got a whole bunch of links that you can take a look at as far as where I pulled that information from, some things that might help you out as you are doing this at home. Again, I didn't provide all of the screenshots that would have helped, but some is better than none. That is the end of what I've got. There is some places that you can hit me up on. This is not on GitHub right now because I'm really lazy, but it will be either later tonight or very early tomorrow morning. So that's the picture that you want. I do have other talks up there as well. Feel free to hit me up. Yeah, I think that's about all I got. I have time for questions if people have questions. I didn't know if you were giving me a time countdown or what.
Okay. One of my takeaways. So you, was it a D-Link or was it a Netgear? Netgear.
For the Switch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've tried D-Link and TP-Link, and both of them, the monitoring mode will drop off or eventually will crash. So if you've had good luck with Netgear, then that's a good deal.
Yeah, I've had very good luck with it, and so there is a command you can run on Security Onion, sudo sostat, pipe that out to less, and you will actually get packet details. They break it out very nicely into logs for you. This has only been running in my environment for like 48 hours or so. 0 drop packets so far though. Again, keep in mind, I am on Mediacom, asshole ISP. I don't have lovely fiber like a lot of you do, so.
Another note for people with Google Fiber, whenever you hook in a third-party router as your main router, you're going to take a performance hit, especially if you're doing any routing between multiple networks behind that router. So, step by step.
So definitely something to think about. And maybe if any of you guys with fiber want to let me crash at your place for like 4 days or something, I'll run some tests. I'll play around. I'm pretty cool. Yeah, I fucking suck at networking.
Speaking of sucking at networking, so let's just say that the users that I have at home make the users at my office seem patient. So if I was thinking about putting a setup like this, what exactly am I looking at in terms of risk of the internet going down and other people in my household enraging, if you will?
Pretty good.
So I would say that your risk is relatively low. Again, I haven't seen any faults happen at this point, and actually, so we're going to go ahead and scroll back to the network diagram, because that is a really good question. You know, anytime I do any of this research, I have to say, babe, I'm going to shit on the network for a little while. Is that okay? And then I get told how I cannot interrupt this Winona Earp marathon. So should anything shit the bed, I would imagine it's going to be this guy or this guy, aka the new things that you are introducing into your network. The nice thing about all of this, though, is that if things go pear-shaped and the significant other starts chatting you up and getting angry, just put the direct link back in. You know, you can figure out the sniffing whenever he or she goes to bed. Yeah, remember, happy significant other, happy life.